Welcome to Being Authentic AF. I'm Alexis Franzese, a university professor, licensed psychologist, speaker, consultant, and mom with over 20 years of experience studying authenticity. This season explores what it means to express your authenticity and to express it authentically in your work, art, and everyday life. It's for anyone who wants their voice and presence to align with their values and seeks to deepen connections with others, from audiences to colleagues. Through reflections and conversations with creators across different mediums, we'll share practical ways to put your inner work into motion. You'll hear about actionable frameworks for authentic self-expression, and we'll explore themes like intent versus impact, honoring the medium, vulnerability with boundaries, access and context, and why iteration beats perfection. Join me as we explore how to know yourself, be yourself, and evolve yourself, and then express it and keep expressing it, unlocking the path to truly being authentic AF. Welcome to Season 2 of Being Authentic AF. I'm your host, Dr. Alexis Franzese. Season 2 is all about how we express ourselves authentically and how we express our authenticity. I'm here today with Jessica Tippins. Jess is a North Carolina-based tattoo artist with a lifelong passion for art and creativity. With a decade of experience in graphic design and a background in makeup artistry, she transitioned into permanent makeup in 2019 before expanding into tattooing in 2023. As the owner of Vibe Studio, Jessica specializes in creating meaningful, lasting works that help her clients feel confident and celebrated. She's dedicated to combining artistry with personal connection, ensuring that every tattoo becomes a cherished keepsake. Jess, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Jess, so you got into tattooing in 2023. Tell me how that happened.
Okay, so I've always been interested in art. As you said and before, I've always been artsy. I did graphic designing previously before getting into tattooing. Starting out with the permanent cosmetics, that was kind of like a opening door to get into expanding like just my art form. I've always been interested in tattooing. So, once I started doing that, I really just kind of grew an interest into leading into that avenue of art and, really started researching and just doing all the things that I needed to do to get into it. And I was very nervous at first, but I took a leap of faith and here we are. So, yeah. It's been great.
You clearly have many tattoos.
I do.
I am curious.
Just a few.
In the process of getting those, did you ever think, I might like to do this one day?
Yeah, a lot, actually. To the point to where, I actually ask my tattoo artist, just kind of like questions over the years of doing, appointments with him and doing sessions with him. I was like, how could I get into this? I'm interested, I want to know. And he kind of gave me a few pointers here and there, and that was also helpful. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad you're here because this season of the podcast is all about how we express ourselves. And I've always recognized tattoos as an incredibly important form of self-expression. And so I'm excited to hear your insights. And to start, want to ask you what authenticity means to you in your life and in your creative work.
Well, I think that those two kind of flow in together, to be honest. So authenticity to me, I would have to say means being your true self, the truest form of yourself, and not letting outside distractions or trends stray you from being who you are authentically. Yeah.
What do you think are some of the distractions that can get in the way of us being?
Oh, definitely. I would say social media, non-supportive people, just those types of outside distractions that, can kind of cloud the mind. Things like that for sure, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when we think about the development of feelings of authenticity, the age of 11 to 12 is typically pinpointed as the time when young adolescents start to feel like there's a true self and a false self.
Yep.
Do you
I
remember
agree with that? 100%.
Do you remember that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say like middle school years were definitely like the hardest years. I mean, they're very transitional, and like, so I think that like you're definitely kind of like learning like who you are, and like it's very hard to find like your authentic self at that age, because you know you might do something that might not be like what the other person would think is cool or trending, or you know, so it's very easy to get lost, I feel like, at that age, to you know, finding who you truly are as a person. Yeah.
Do you feel like, you know, in your own journey, that as you've aged, that it's easier to kind of silence or quiet the distractions and lean into that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think as you grow older, like you learn like who's for you and who's not for you, and I think that you really tap into like your individuality as a person, and I think that you also gain wisdom as you get older that really helps you kind of separate, you know, the negative things in life versus the positive things in life, that support, you know, just you being who you want to be. So yeah, I definitely think as you get older, like it does get easier to you know, push those things.
So I want to understand your process as a tattoo artist. So when someone comes in the door,
right,
what does that look like, sound like?
Okay, I mean, so it could go one or two ways. Either they come in the door or they, you know, reach out on social media. But regardless of like how they come to inquire about getting tattoos, I always first and foremost ask them like what their vision is. I want to understand like who they are as a person, and the things that are important to them, because I really feel like that matters when it comes to creating like a piece that's individually designed for them. So I always try to like communicate that, really get an understanding of like who they are as a person, what it is that they're wanting, just to make sure that like I deliver, you know, what you know they want in the long run, and they're happy. Yeah.
What kinds of questions help you get to that understanding?
I don't know. I try to get on a personal level with them. Just like the why. Like, why do you want this? Are other people supportive of you getting this? Who's not supportive of you getting this? And then just like the reason behind the why, you know, like what does this mean to you? So yeah, and that really kind of helps me, you know, come to an understanding as like what to do, or like how to design what it is they're wanting. Yeah.
So I'm curious if you know, you said what does it mean to you? For most of the people coming in, are they having an idea of a tattoo that's really meaningful for them, or are there some people who just want a tattoo and it doesn't have as much specific meaning?
I feel like, you know, it differs. You know, there's definitely people that just come in and like they show me something that's close to like a design that they want, and they're like, this really doesn't have any significant meaning, I just like it. You know, and like I just want to get it. And then there's also people that come in that you know, different walks of life. You know, you're either celebrating a child, you know, you're, you know, getting out of a divorce, you're just, you know, a mom that's constantly, you know, involved with their children, and they just want to, you know, a tattoo therapy day away from their children, just to, you know, have some time to themselves. You know, just different types of reasons that people come in, but all are, you know, valuable in the same sense. So
that was interesting to hear you talk about time to themselves, because there's, I guess, the issue of the process of getting the tattoo, and then there's the having it forever piece. And kind of distinguishing people's motivations for each of those things, right? And what's most important to them within that. Was there a moment that you feel like you really recognized that tattoos were about more than just aesthetics and can be a way for people to convey identity or to heal or feel empowered?
Yeah. I would definitely say the first time I felt that way was when I had a client get emotional after the reveal. That was really like kind of what set things apart for me and made me like realize like, wow, like you're doing more for people than just giving them permanent art on their body. Yeah. You're giving them something that's going to last forever, but also that's going to mean, you know, something special to them forever. Mm-hmm. So I would say that was probably when it stuck out for me, for sure. Yeah.
So tell our listeners a little bit about what that reveal process is like if they're not familiar with it.
Yeah, I mean, so it just depends, you know. Some tattoos take 15 minutes. Some tattoos take 8 hours. I mean, it just depends on the time that you're booked in my chair. But yeah, so when we're done, I'll allow the client to very slowly get up because sometimes they can be lightheaded after getting tattooed. And then I have a mirror there that they come and they take a look at, you know, the art that I've permanently modified on their body. And yeah, that's kind of how the reveal works. Most of the time, yes, everyone is super ecstatic about what they get. Sometimes, you know, just to kind of differ away from the art form of tattooing and the permanent cosmetic side of things, it can also be very overwhelming sometimes, especially with, you know, women that are not used to having that look or that form of makeup on their face. I kind of call it like permanent cosmetic shock. But yeah, so the reveal can be very different depending on like what it is that I've given them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you ever had someone come in maybe for permanent cosmetics and talk with you about maybe not using the language of authenticity, but kind of questions of authenticity and any kind of grappling with that? Or do people come in pretty confident about their choice?
Yeah, it's back and forth. I mean, some people come in with a lot of questions and some people are like very set and they're like, this is what I want. I know this is what I want. I've been wanting it for a long time. I think the people that know what they want, have researched, they've done the work, you know, they've put in the time to really think about their decision. But the ones that come in that are, you know, kind of nervous or hesitant or reluctant to like get it done, you know, I'm sure there's different reasons why they feel that way, but at the end of the day, regardless, my goal is to always make them feel comfortable and moving forward and satisfied with the decision that they make.
So I want to think together for a second about how the permanency of tattoos and makeup in that way affects kind of your experience of doing that and also the customer's experience of having that. Like, can we speak to that? Because tattoos are really distinct in the degree to which, you know, there are things people can do, of course, if they want to modify it, but it's a pretty serious commitment. And what is that? Does that feel like a big level of responsibility for you, or what is that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like a big level of responsibility for me personally as an artist, because obviously, like, I'm the one that is delivering, you know, the art, and I'm the one that's permanently giving them, you know, what they're asking for. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't care what anybody says. Any tattoo artist out there will tell you, like, if you don't get nervous before doing a session, like, you just need to regroup and like revisit and like do some inner work, because like every tattoo artist gets nervous. So for me, like, the responsibility of that feels very heavy still, and it only to me that means that like I just want to do a good job and like at the end of the day, like, have a client walk out of my door that's happy. Yeah.
Does the responsibility feel any weightier to you if they're coming in with a tattoo request that's really heavy or has a lot of significance or meaning?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
How do you deal with that?
You know, like, I really feel like talking to them before the process, and just getting an understanding of like what it is that they've went through, or like having them kind of open up to me and talk to me about it really kind of like sets a tone for us to like just be more comfortable moving forward. And like, And then also, like, it means something to me, too. You know, like, after they've been vulnerable enough to share that information with me. So, like, if anything, it just gives me more motivation to, like, make sure that, like, I deliver, like, an awesome tattoo.
Yeah,
and I give them what it is that they really want.
I hear how important that connection piece
100%
is for you. So are there times when you feel like it's really a co-creation process?
Yeah, I think on pieces that are very, very, like, self-specific, and, like, pieces that are, you know, like, I'll have clients come in and say, like, well, I really like this, but I like this, and I like this. Can we kind of, like, mesh all this together? Those are probably, like, the most fun sessions for me.
Yeah.
Also, people that give me, like, freedom of expression just as an artist. I really feel like I have a lot of fun doing those types of sessions. So yeah.
Have you ever had the experience of someone coming in and asking for something that was completely against your values, or you're like, eek, I don't think I'm game for this?
Not necessarily against my values, but definitely, like, outside of my powerhouse, like, or like my wheelhouse to, like, feel comfortable tattooing something. I am not too prideful to look someone in the face and say, hey, this is not for me. I'm very supportive of, like, my tattoo friends and people that tattoo outside of my studio. And it's not above me to tell them, like, this is something that this person would be really great at. You should go here. Or if I feel like it's something that I could do, or I could be more comfortable doing, you know, in a sense of, like, guiding them through saying, hey, like, this is probably not what's going to be best for you. And try to, you know, just get them to understand that, and then maybe see if there's another option to go a different, you know, way or avenue. You know, I'm also open to doing that as well. So yeah, there's different options there for sure.
I'm curious, you know, in your own experience with tattoos. So I imagine you've gotten these tattoos over the course of your life, right? So some are older than others. Yeah. Have you ever gotten a tattoo and looked back and felt like, ooh, this represents a moment, but this is not in alignment with who I am now?
I'm, like, looking at all of my tattoos. I'm like, is there one? Honestly, no. I mean, so I'll kind of give you, like, a little backstory as to, like, when I first got my tattoo, and why I was the age I was when I first got my tattoo. So I did not get my first tattoo until I was 30 years old. I am very adamant about, like, making sure that, like, I know exactly what it is that I want. I'm not a person that, like, could just, you know, look at something that has no significance to me and go, I want to tattoo that on my body. Kudos to the people out there that do. Love you guys. Like, you're awesome. That doesn't mean that I would not do that for you, but me personally, just in my own journey, I'm not that way. So, you know, every tattoo that you see on my body is thought out. You know, there's a process behind, like, why I got it. And to this day, like, there's nothing on my body that makes me go, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Like, I love all of my tattoos, so I'm happy with everything that I've done so far.
Awesome.
That doesn't mean that maybe one day I wouldn't, like, get a wild hair up my butt, and maybe, like, if it was something that, like, really stuck out to me, like, it would have to be something, like, super cool or, like, just super crazy, but probably not. Who knows?
No, it's interesting to think about that, because I don't think that our authentic self is something that we, like, excavate, we find once, like, and it's one thing. I think that there are different ways that we're authentic at every point in the life course. So I imagine in listening to you that something you did right when you were 30 was authentic for that time. And so in some ways, I think you're super privileged in that you have access to visual representation of all the ways you have been you in this body, in this life, just by looking, you know, in the mirror. On that note, tattoos in public or private spaces, is that something when people come in for tattoos that they think about, like, whether they'll be visible to others versus whether or not it's something that only select people will see? Do people speak about that?
I feel like I have people come in with, they both feel, or they feel the same about like both ways that you've described. The ones that like are more, what's the word I'm looking for? The ones that are more reserved, I would say, are the ones that like typically tend to like go and put their tattoos in places that like are not able to be seen for different reasons, like work, just lifestyle, they just don't want people to see it. And then there's also people that come in and then they're like, I love this and like I want everybody to see this. And really honestly, I just think it comes down to, like I said, like just who you are and like the life that you live and like what you're comfortable with overall. Yeah.
And what do you see as the best practices in tattoo etiquette? Do you think that tattoos are an invitation for a conversation with other people? Like, do you think it's appropriate for other people to inquire about someone's tattoo?
Yeah, I do. I think that, a lot of people, the people that are open with, tattoos or the visibility of their tattoos, definitely don't mind talking about their tattoos, and they're definitely conversation starters. And then there's also people that are covered in tattoos that, at the end of the day, like just they have them for themselves and like they don't want to have conversations about them or have people come up and intrusively touch their arm or like jerk their arm up and go, let me see your art. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it goes both ways for sure. But I definitely feel like tattoos are just naturally a conversation starter because of, just how visible they are and how beautiful they are. So I think it's only fair that someone would want to know about the art that's on someone's body just because it's so interesting.
And totally fair if people don't want to speak about it.
Right. Well, I just, I think that some pieces are personal, and some things that people have on their body, they get, as maybe just a part of like closure or like just a way to like deal or cope with what's happened in their life. And just because they've done that doesn't mean that they're comfortable, open enough to talk about it. So
that makes really good sense.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about your authenticity heroes or role models, if you have any.
I know this is so cliche, but like my mom, I love her. I mean, she has had a very interesting life. And just like no matter what has been thrown at her, she's always just been who she is. It's one of her favorite things to tell people, like, I am who I am. And like either you like it or you don't, and like I'm just totally okay with either way. I finally am to a place to where she's finally to a place to where she loves herself for who she is, and she always really has, but like I just feel like she's really settled into that over the last, I would say, like 10 years. But yeah, love you, Mom. Yeah, so I would definitely have to say for sure my mom. Yeah, she's always encouraged us just to like be who we are, and like, and that's enough, and it's okay. And like if it's not enough for someone, then like they don't need to be in your life anyways. And so yeah, she's just honestly really has always just told us like to just be authentically ourselves.
I love hearing that, because I do think when we are supported in being who we are, we become better at making room for other people to be who they are too. And I feel like in knowing you, Jess, that you're really good at that. Like you really do create space for other people to be themselves. And it now makes sense hearing that you grew up in that setting with a mom like that who kind of emphasized that, why that's the case. So a few more questions for you.
Okay.
Do you think that we have any kind of ethical imperative or requirement to be authentic with each other? Do you think like we owe that to each other in our interactions?
That's a good question. I would say at the end of the day, like, I don't think that it's like super important, just because like as long as you're happy with who you are, like that's what matters the most. I mean, obviously, like, yes, like the people that are close to us, like, we care about their opinions. We care about, you know, how they feel about what we do in our life or like the decisions that we make. But overall, I mean, me personally, like, I feel like as long as like I'm genuinely happy with like my life and like the things that I do for myself, like that's just enough for me. But what do you think? How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think that we actually all have equal access to being authentic. I think that some of us have more freedoms than others in moving through worlds that are more or less open to us bringing all of who we are into those spaces. Yeah. And I also think that authenticity is contextually dependent. So I don't think authenticity is just like having no filter and saying whatever comes across your mind. Right. I think authenticity is really acting in values aligned ways and being really intentional in that process. So I do know that I enjoy most of the time when people are authentic. Yeah. And sometimes I get asked, should everybody be authentic all the time? And I'm a hard no on that. Yeah. In that, if your authenticity oppresses or hurts other people or is not like pro-social, just go ahead and submerge that.
No, I agree with that 100% for sure.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people actually go too far and will engage in some, I guess what I could call bad behavior. Yeah. And use authenticity as the language to justify that.
Yeah, when it's not.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you being impulsive is not you being authentic.
No, it's you being impulsive.
Right. Right. Like, and those are two different things.
For sure.
Yeah. So many interesting questions about authenticity to think about, and I think that you're in a fortunate position doing tattoos and getting to have these conversations with people and thinking about what they want to convey through art on their bodies, why it matters to them. That whole process seems really interesting to me. And I'm really glad that you came on and that the show and that our listeners could hear about that too. And before we wrap up, I'm wondering if there's anything else from your experiences, doing this work that you'd like to share about authenticity and tattoos and the overlap of this.
I mean, I would definitely just say, just making sure that like you're just truly being yourself, making sure that the decisions that you make when it comes to putting art on your body are for you, and not to please someone else. Yeah. And just to really think about the decision that you're making, and make sure in the long run that like it's going to be something that like you're gonna be happy with for the rest of your life, because it is permanent, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, we're not going to talk about laser removal and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, like, we do this because we want it to be there forever. And so I just, making that decision, like it needs to be a sound decision. And then also, just making sure again that like it's something that like is authentically for you and not something that like is encouraged by, like a social trend or like something that you've seen that like everyone else is doing. Like, it's cool if that's what you're into, but at the end of the day, like it's way cooler when you're just doing something that's meant for you and you only, Yeah. So.
Well, on that note, we will wrap there. Thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate it so much. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Being Authentic AF. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to our series wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep being Authentic AF and let that authenticity uplift and inspire others. Take care.